My name's Tate Briggs. So I came to know Christ when I was 16 years old. I grew up going to church a little bit. My family traveled a lot. My brothers rodeoed competitively at that point, and we were gone 3 weekends out of a month. So I grew up going to church. We called ourselves Christians, but I never really had a relationship with God or understood what that looked like. I had no reason on why I went to church, but randomly when I was 16, I decided to go to a church lock-in, and I'd never gone to any of like the youth events there. At that event, Jason Fanning, who's a pastor here at Denton Bible, was teaching at the church that I went to, Pilot Point, and he just shared the gospel. And I don't know if I'd ever heard it before. I'm sure I had, but up to that point, I had no interest in knowing anything about God, so I just zoned out when I was in church. But I heard the gospel, and I went home, and I still was like, okay, I know Jesus died for me. I know I'm a sinner. I know I need him, but man, I'm too old as a 16-year-old to make that decision now, because I feel like everybody I knew at that point had gotten saved when they were like 9. And so I was just embarrassed to say that I wasn't in that boat. I didn't understand it yet. And that next day, the Monday after that lock-in was over, I was at a guitar lesson, and the guy that was teaching me guitar shared his testimony with me. And he had gotten saved that weekend before, and he was 26. And so this is somebody that I looked up to, that God used in my life to show me that I wasn't too old. He can just take you where you're at. And I just read my Bible for the first time that week, maybe in my entire life. And read through the book of James, and I don't remember anything really standing out to me, but I know that at that point I prayed and I asked God to just take full control of my life. After that, I got super involved in my youth ministry in Pilot Point where I grew up, but I feel like my main focus was convincing people that I was a good Christian, that I never sinned, and I read my Bible every day, and I never thought anything bad or was mean to anybody. And so there's really no confession or real growth in that time. Then I went off to college in Stephenville and didn't get involved in a church, wasn't surrounded by any Christians, and just spent almost 2 years of my life kind of in that place. Just I was a Christian, but I was not at all prioritizing God in my life. And during COVID, I moved back to Denton. So I got Jake Johnson's number from my youth pastor, Jonathan Covey, and met up with him for coffee and got to share a little bit about my life and what I was going through. And after that, I just started coming to Tuesday nights pretty regularly and started making some relationships with some of the people there. But I think it was about a month into coming to Denton Bible when I went to my first life group. And that night we all gave Jake, who was our life group leader, a kind of a check-in of where we were at spiritually and emotionally. And we all went around the circle, and usually life groups last an hour or two. And this one went from about 6:30 to 11:30 at night, and I don't remember everything I shared or that was shared that night, but I think I just realized that there's no perfect people in Christianity, and that the people that are following Christ most are the ones who are most honest with themselves and the people around them about their sin. And so that night I got to start an awesome habit of sharing the things I'm struggling with, the ways I'm messing up every week with the people around me. And that awareness of sin and just realization of who I am has made me realize who God is so much more. And so I feel like every day, every time that I fail, I realize how good God is and how much I need him. And so really, like, my story is about how I got saved, but spent so much time not pursuing God, pursuing a real relationship with God, but trying to trick everybody into thinking I was doing that. And then I came here, and God used this ministry in my life to make me realize what following God looks like. And that's just realizing how much we need God, and utilizing the community around us. And I've met countless people in this ministry who love me so much and don't look down on me when I share things I'm going through. They don't look at me as weak or as evil for thinking thoughts or sinning, but they look at me as human, and they always point me back to Christ, back to the cross and salvation, and how all these things are justified and that I can move past them now. And so that's really where God has done so much in my life in the last 7 months. I can hardly remember how I viewed him before this.